Hello and welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Ellie. I'm a knitwear designer and this is my knitting podcast where I talk about what I've been working on, what I am working on, what I've finished, all the good stuff. So today we're going to just start with finished objects. I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing, which is a newly finished tank top. Here is the full view. This was knit in Drops Love You 7. They're 100% cotton yarn. I knit this on size 4 needles for predominantly, and then when I switched to the ribbing, I moved down to size 3 needles. So I started this project by doing a back panel, and then picking up for the straps, and then kind of connecting here, knitting the yoke, and then connecting in the round. Basic kind of stuff. I added some increases around on the front and the back. And yeah, I actually put this on my Ravelry. It's my very first Ravelry post, so yeah, there's more details on there kind of, but anyway, some special details about this is I actually did like a garter stitch edge here, so it kind of looks finished. Everything else is just like a raw edge. And then on the back, I started out with like a garter stitch edge. So the pickup edge, I don't know if you can see this, and it doesn't make sense to show like while I'm wearing it, but the pickup edge has kind of like a nice little detail because it's garter stitch. So that's all about that. And then, so I knit down, I knitted like, I don't know, 6 inches or so. I kind of wanted to just get to where my ribs hit. And then I switched down to size 3 needles and did a 2x2 rib. And then just like a totally normal cast off. So yeah, this has been, I've already worn this a few times. I really like it. It was a really fun project and it was super quick. I ended up using just a little bit over 2 skeins of yarn. And yeah, Drops, their Love You 7 yarn has been like the yarn of the summer for me. I've knit so many summer t-shirts on it already. So, and yeah. Speaking of which, here is another finished project in the Drops Love You 7 cotton yarn. I finished this little t-shirt recently. This is just like a basic t-shirt, set in sleeve, construction, and yeah, I did some fun color work. This is not blocked, so I'm going to talk about that in a sec, but anyway, so I do expect this to grow and kind of even out. I did like a really, really fun wave motif that I found the chart on Pinterest for, and this was in like scrap yarn from my other, like the Raglan, the Raglan t-shirt from like my last podcast. So if you want to see that one, I did these 2 colors but with brown as stripes. But yeah, I really, really love this one. I tried doing kind of something similar to this, but I ended up taking it out where I was doing you can still kind of see the line. I was doing 6 knit stitches and then 1 purl, but I did that for like quite some time, but I ended up like laddering down and just turning them all into knit stitches because I didn't really like it. So yeah, and then this was my very first successful German short row set in sleeve that I've ever done. If you saw on my red t-shirt that I did where I tried doing German short row sleeves, I just did the opposite of what you're supposed to do, and in that podcast I realized what you're supposed to do, so I tried it on this one and it worked out so well, where I basically knitted like 4 I picked up all the stitches, knitted 4, and then started doing like aggressive short rows all the way down to like where the joining for the body is. So I pretty much did like my 4, and then when I switched back, I would only ever knit 2 more and then turn and do the short row, and then knit 2 more past the other side, and then I went and did it that way, and it turned out really nice. I think it will even out even more during blocking, but honestly, like, it's really practically invisible. Unlike the red t-shirt that I did, I casted on all the stitches and then like started from the bottom doing the short rows, getting shorter and shorter, which ended up having the short row line go like right through the sleeve. And you can't really tell either, but this was way faster, and I feel like you knit less, or at least it just feels like you do. And yeah, I'm still deciding what to do with the neckline. Technically it's finished, but I have considered doing one of these colors here and just crocheting an edge around, like a border edge, and I think that would be nice. And then let's see what else. My bind off is a new technique that I learned that I really love for my summer projects because it looks really finished without having to go back and sew anything, and I haven't like you don't have to do a fold hem or anything. So what you do, this is what it looks like. If it will focus. There we go. As you can see, it's kind of, it looks like a border, and it's supposed to be a non-roll hem, and I think once I block it, it will do a lot better. So yeah, that's kind of what that looks like. That's a good example. So all you do is you, as you're knitting along, you go down on, okay, as you're knitting along, on your next knit stitch, you go down 2 bars, pull that bar up, knit those 2 together, and then do like, then knit the other one over to do just a normal bind off, and it gives you this kind of border and it doesn't really fold. And I've done it on a couple projects now and I really like it. I will say that sometimes there's like some weird things that happen where there's just like little bumps that don't look very good, and I hope that blocks out. But let me just try this on really quick. I'm just gonna put it on over. I think the tank top will be hidden, yeah, for the most part. Anyway, so yeah, it's just like a cute little baby tee, and like the sleeves turned out so well. I am really in love with like with the set and sleeve construction. But yeah, I basically played the Yarn Chicken. I used about 3 skeins of this like wheat color, and then I still have more of these 2 colors, so I guess I'm not like great at stash busting. But it goes all the way to the back and looks like that, and yeah, I do expect this to grow, and so right now it's a little bit tight, but honestly not too bad, and I love where it hits me underneath the arm. I hate tight things under my armpits, so I need t-shirts that like really go down and have a lot of positive ease. So yeah, I really love the length of this sleeve. I could have gone longer. I mean, I played Yarn Chicken, so I basically have like this much yarn left, so I won't be adding any more to the sleeves. But in the future, I would love to do a longer sleeve down to like there or something. But yeah, this is just like a nice little cropped, this is like a super high-waisted short that I'm wearing, so it looks good with this. I don't know if I'll be able to wear it with most of my other shorts because, yeah, this is like, this shirt barely hits my belly button, so I do need it to be a very high-waisted item. My next finished item is this tank top. It's showing up really nicely. It blocked super beautifully. It's a little bit, I'll talk about the yarn in a second. But anyway, this was my quatrefoil pointelle tank top, boat neck. I kind of took inspo from the Sabai top, and yeah, but I ended up having to do some some sticking in, or I ended up just having to add straps because it just wasn't working out, and to see the pattern, I needed more space. So I'm gonna throw this on really quick. This is the top. This was knitted on size 3 needles with using the yarn Hertigarns Organic 350, which is a cotton merino blend, and it is really nice yarn. I will say it creates a beautiful fabric. However, it's still a little itchy, so wearing this like next to skin is okay. However, if I get like really hot, then it gets itchier, which, hold on. Just got 2 spam calls in a row, which annoys me. Anyway, as I was saying, if I wear this next to skin and I get really hot, it gets itchier so far from what I've seen. So I did make this oversized enough that it's not like touching me all the time, if that makes sense. There's tons of positive ease. However, sometimes when it like touches my chest or like my shoulders, it actually it's like very overstimulating, is the perfect way to put it for me. I hate being cognizant of the clothing that I'm wearing, and so this is maybe not like the perfect item for me. It's really beautiful, and I've kind of just like realized that maybe it's more of like wearable art, or like just something that I'll keep forever because it's so dainty and like delicate and beautiful. However, like wearing it out might not be very feasible for me. But here is how she looks. Let me pull this down so you can kind of see. It's honestly really, really beautiful, and I love the color. And I love just like the high boat neck. I think the straps added a lot to the top that I wasn't getting before because this was so high. This was like, the neckline was rolling up. I used the same bind off method that I talked about for the previous t-shirt. I think I ended up using it for all of these things because it's just kind of like the perfect no ribbing, non-rolling edge to do. And like maybe I'll add a video or share something on my social media about how I did this. But yeah, here's the edge. It just kind of sits nicely. Same with this, and the pattern just looks really nice. So I don't know, maybe for fall this could be okay, and I'm really glad that I tried this yarn out, and I have a lot more of the yarn. This only took up like a little more than 1 skein, so that was kind of crazy. I did make an error, and I knit this a lot shorter than I thought I had because I guess the yarn stretched out on my needles, so when I was measuring it, it was like 2 inches longer, but it blocked out really nicely. However, that also meant that the armhole blocked out longer than I thought, and same with this stretched a little more, so it's not the end of the world. But I do worry about the straps, and I might have to do some reinforcing at some point because I don't want them to stretch out even more. However, anyway, I have a lot of extra yarn of this yarn. I have a couple different colors. I do plan on just doubling up and making sweaters and just holding the yarn double. I've swatched it for on 4mm needles and it looks super nice. I can show you that really quick. So I have like a pink and like a berry dark red color, and this is the swatch on size 4mm needles, and I just think it will make a really nice like cotton lightweight sweater. I plan to do like a rolled neckline, rolled hems, and yeah, anyway, the inspo is kind of like those J. Crew ads, the old vintage 90s ads, and I feel like that's kind of what I get from like this as well. Just like a good boat neck, very elegant. Honestly, this like weighs nothing, so kind of sad that it's still itchy. And maybe if I wear it more, it'll be less itchy. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that is this finished item. The next one that I have is something that I frogged and then restarted. Not fully. I frogged halfway back, and it's this skirt. If you recall in my last podcast, so hopefully that helps. I ended up doing a lot more increases, and then to get the ruffle, I think I increased every 2 stitches, and it blocked out kind of weird. And yeah, I'll put it on. I'm a little bit annoyed that the lighting is so bad right now, so just give me a second. Can you see this? This is what this skirt looks like. It's very short, but it's also very cute, and I kind of like it a lot. I have worn it out a few times, and so far so good. I will say that this was knit on 4mm 4mm needles on the Sheep's Color Crafter acrylic yarn, which relaxes quite a bit, which can be really good, but it also maybe not the best for a skirt. I don't know. It's not as long as I would have hoped, but anyway, that's the biggest takeaway. I just think that, yeah, I really don't know how to get past the hang up, because every time I'm like, I'm just gonna keep knitting, and I'm just gonna make it longer, and it's gonna work out perfectly, and it's gonna be great, and then I end up just not doing that. So yeah, I don't know. I think I just know myself now, and I just don't know if I can do a very good skirt situation. Like, yeah. Anyway, that's it for that. I actually have no whips right now. I had a little bit of hand pain in my right hand, and so I was like, I need to stop working with tiny yarn, because I think that's a problem. I do have, here's my next project. I have these, and the idea is to make like an actually like adult size t-shirt instead of like a baby tee, with this. The pattern I'm thinking is roughly that, where it'll be two rows of this base blue, and then 2 rows of the light blue, 2 rows of base blue again, 2 rows of yellow. And yeah, to make a t-shirt out of that, I think that would be really nice. And fun. Yeah, I have decided I'm not doing shorts anymore either, because I just also can't seem to get them to a place where I really like them. So yeah, I guess I'm just making shirts forever. I do have some acquisitions I have acquired, some yarn for a colorwork sweater in the Herdigarn Organic Trio. I went for kind of like a rustic but fun color theme. I love heathered yarn, and so this is all heathered, and the idea is that this is the base color, and I have like 4 of these, and then I have a couple of these, so this will be like the main color being used. These 2, and then this one will be kind of like accent border colorwork stuff, and yeah, I really love how these look. So this will be a sweater eventually. I'm getting really tired of summer knitting, so I just really want to get in on the fall and winter sweaters. So the Organic Trio is a merino, 50% organic merino, 25% organic cotton, and 25% silk. And this just feels really nice. I think this will be one of the first sweaters that I make, because when I start my fall knitting, because it is so lightweight and also a blend, and it's not fully wool. So yeah, super soft, super nice yarn. It says DK weight, but I don't believe that necessarily. Let me try to find the it says that it is, yeah, size 4 with a 22 stitch gauge. So maybe, I don't know, I need to do a swatch, and maybe that sounds really fun. And maybe I can post up here kind of what I've been working on as a colorwork chart. I spent a lot of time in Stitch Fiddle working on something, and yeah, that concludes all of my knitting stuff. I do have a fun little sewing project that I've been working on. It's not so little, it's right here in the back, as you can see. I started a quilt like 5 years ago, I think. I used to actually sew quilts all the time. I love making a good quilt. I typically did baby blankets, ties, stuff. So this is one of my only like adult-sized blankets. And it was kind of like a scrap quilt. The idea was that I was just going to do lots of squares. I call it my dopamine blanket because it's just all the colors that I really like. I was inspired kind of by like IKEA, Swedish stuff. I don't know, like interior design and whatnot. So I have all of these colors that I kind of would pull this out every once in a while and then put it away for a year and then pull it out, and the last time I worked on it was 2023. So, and I basically had started quilting it and then I made like one mistake and I didn't want to unpick it, and so I just left it. And yeah, I finally pulled it out this last week and I started quilting it on my sewing machine, and it is looking amazing. I, as you can see, did like a diamond pattern, and here's the back. The top is cotton, and then this is like a vintage velour fabric that is from my grandma. And I just did like a checkerboard theme. I just kind of to match the back, but it's really soft. Don't look too closely. I did not do this professionally at all. I did not pay attention to anything that was supposed to be paid attention to, and the tension is all wrong, blah blah blah. Anyway, I bought this fabric a couple years ago and I was supposed to make clothes out of it, but it's just like a really stiff cotton, so I don't know what I would make out of it that I would like commit to wearing, so I thought this would make a really pretty edge. And so yeah, I finished quilting, and then I started kind of putting on the binding. I've got it sewn on one side, and then I did do a little patch test last night. So that's what it looks like on that side. That's what it looks like on this side. And yeah, totally unprofessional. In my past quilts, I've like paid a lot more attention to detail. This one I just didn't. So, and that's okay. It's a really pretty warm quilt, and it feels really nice. So I'm just gonna kind of let the rest of that go. I'm just happy to have it be done soon. Let me show you the full thing. Yeah, so that is that. That is the last thing. That is the last thing that I have to talk about. I will see you next month in my next knitting video. I hope to have at least some whips going. My hand's feeling a lot better, so I will probably get back to knitting very soon. And yeah, let me know what you're working on. I'll see you next time. Bye!